All right, this is going to be an unedited mess. Um, I had my spiritual awakening last night, and a lot of these videos are going to be very unstructured and strange, but I'm going to try to be as authentic and candid as possible. Um, Imagine, if you will, you go through your whole 20 years of existence believing in reality and how things work in science and logic. Then it gets flipped on its head in one night. So that's the point that I'm at, but it's a good thing. Um, it's kind of in a rut for like a long time, probably like most of 2025, like half the year, just like stuck in my head and focusing on the wrong things, stuff that I thought would make me happy actually didn't make me happy, and obsessive stuff. And then, you know, I'm very, very spiritual now. So hope you guys like spiritual content. Um, I think it started with self help. Oh, I'm spinning. It started with self help from like cognitive behavioral therapy or something. Actually, hold on. All right, I found the culprit or the catalyst. Hold on. This guy's crazy, bro. So this book is backwards. Feeling Good by David D. Burns, MD. That's what began me on my self help journey. I'm at the point now where I believe that, oh my freaking God, that's crazy. Um, Everything in your life happens for a particular reason. And everything before finding that book has led me up to this point. But that book specifically, I I think of as the inciting incident of kind of the point that I'm at, because like I feel like I'm in a new phase of life. But starting with that, I was reading that, read it like 20 pages. I'm I was very bad at reading, just like attention span and staying focused. So I enjoyed it, but didn't really capture my attention. And I was like, oh, it's kind of cool, whatever. And then I was like, it's too, it's too scientific and what's the word, like too structured, I guess. Like I'm very like free thinker, kind of like abstract, I guess, in my mind. And it was very like, these are the things you're diagnosed with. These are like steps to go through and fix it, which like obviously is good for people. But I was like, I need something a little more off the beaten path. And that's when I got into philosophy. I think that started with Breakfast with Seneca. I mean, technically, my first one was um, what's his face, Carl Jung. Pretty much, I was like watching YouTube videos on Carl Jung, and I was like, "Oh, shadow and the subconscious mind." And I had a friend who I mentioned it to, and then they kind of did a deep dive. And like, this person or this guy has some really good stuff. You should read some of the stuff that other people have wrote down about his ideas. So I was learning about that. I was like, this is super cool. And then I got into actual philosophy, kind of away from psychology a little bit. Breakfast with Seneca, really good book. I recommend it, about stoicism, and has interlocking themes with the point that I'm getting to, because I'm a freaking yapper. There's gonna be a lot of filler, but um, a lot of interlocking themes with the point I'm at now. Um, Obviously, it's kind of a more digestible way of understanding stoicism, because a lot of people are like, well, if you're stoic, you don't feel anything and you're a robot and blah, 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 which is kind of misunderstood in this day and age based on the perception of it. But it gives you like a modern, very modern way to apply it to your life. Um, so that was really cool. I'm actually re-listening to the audiobook of it now. It's been, I think, like 6 months since my first exposure to it, and I actually got through pretty quick because it was an audiobook. I did it in like 2 weeks, listening mainly to it on the way to and from work. Um, and I kind of absorbed some of the themes and the ideas and all that in the initial listening, But a lot of the really like profound stuff, the stuff that I was like genuinely changed my mood for days. I was like, this is cool. Like I'm really excited about this. I feel like that kind of eluded me afterwards and didn't really stick with me. So I was like, make a mental note. I want to re-listen to this. So I'm doing that now. And I feel like that's kind of a thing with like a lot of learning. You take bits and pieces with every exposure to it, and you don't really have control over what you do maintain and what you do continue to remember. Obviously, it's like buried somewhere in your subconscious. Like I've noticed that recently, but it's kind of hard to be like, I want to commit this to memory. It does work, but usually I feel like it's you just kind of learn you remember everything for a reason. Like it sticks with you for a reason. Um, so yeah, Breakfast with Seneca was dope, and then I think after that, it's kind of in between. I think I did like one other kind of self help thing. I wanted to get more into Carl Jung with like psychology and alchemy, which is like his complete works. I started reading it and I couldn't understand it because the the dialogue was it was too much for my little monkey brain to understand. So I literally read like 2 pages and then I haven't picked it up since. But I'll probably return to it. And then I got into finance bro stuff. Um, Read Rich Dad Poor Dad, which very good finance book. Not sure where I stand on it after the knowledge that I have learned and is what's actually making me or what has caused me to make this video and to start posting again. But still very good. A lot of good themes about like saving and um, making a bunch of money. Like it's kind of like a coverall for a lot of that stuff. And I really like his philosophy about being riskier with your money and blah, blah, blah. From there, then I got into real estate a little bit. It's pretty hooked on that. Actually, before that, technically sequitur, I was getting into like Turo car rental because I had one of my clients, my personal trainer, one of my clients was talking to me. He's like, "Yeah, it's a good business, and you'll be able to get a fleet and rent out cars, and it's like steady stream." And it sounds good on paper. Probably is good to the people that do it right. But then I did a little bit of research, and they're like, "The Turo car rental business is not what it used to be. Um, the website sucks for like established renters and blah blah blah. It's like not very consistent." So it's like, okay, I guess I won't do that. And then I got into real estate. Have not even looked at deals on properties or done anything like finding property managers or brokers or even gotten a loan. But like I learned a little bit about it. I'd say I studied it for like 2 weeks, started reading a book. Might go back to that. It depends on the next thing I'm talking about, which I'm chomping at the bit to talk about, but stick with me. It was still pretty cool. Like, if you wanted to be a lame average Joe, live your life like everybody else, and not use your magic powers, then you could definitely go into real estate because everybody's always going to need houses. It's pretty it's pretty reliable. There's ways to like make steady income or just like sell a house and make a bag off of that. And it's like pretty easy to learn about. Like there's a ton of resources. So like it's not bad. So did the real estate research, was like, okay, this is cool. And then I kind of hit like a stall with my learning and my development. I was not reading. I mean, I never really established a good reading schedule in this period, but it was like enough where wasn't I wasn't like annoyed with myself. Like I felt like it was a fast enough pace where I'm like, okay, it's cool. Um, but then I just kind of stopped for I don't know, like a month. Part of that was, I believe, due to going on a trip, leaving for like 2 weeks, and then I don't know. That period was just like a weird in between. Like it felt like nothing really happened. Kind of just maintained, like stayed the same. Although this is getting into what I did start. I started meditation. Um, this was brought on by one of my coworkers. Actually, she, I think I like literally mentioned it when I was like talking to a client, and I was like, oh, stress is a really good way, or stress is like a silent killer when it comes to weight loss. People don't know the impact that stress has on how your body performs its natural processes, how you feel your whole day. So it's like uh, one way to negate that or to help combat that is meditation. So literally just said that, and I was like, she was shadowing me. She was kind of like getting started, seeing how a session went. And then like we went back after the session, and my coworker was like, "Oh, you mentioned meditation. Like, um, are you like?" I think she was like, "Are you spiritually minded, or like, do you do meditation, or blah blah blah?" I was like, not really. Like, I have a vague interest in it, and I tried meditation for like hit or miss, or very like non-sequentially, like a day, couple weeks, whatever. Um, like I don't know, like 8 months ago, and I was like, I just can't do it. Like I suck at focusing, and like I'm just waiting for my timer to be over. Like I would set a 10-minute timer and be like, I'm meditating, and just like whatever. And then she was like, well, there's actually this really cool app called Waking Up by Sam Harris. You can get it on your phone. I'd very much recommend it. It's a guided meditation app, not sponsored by the way. Um, free 2-week course, and then after that you have to pay for a year, but it's like 150, and like the amount of value it's provided to my life. Also, finances and money is just another temporary thing in this existence that truly doesn't matter. But getting to that later because I'm such a yapper. Um, yeah, very worth it. Guided meditation app. It has a bunch of resources with it, but like every day it's like, all right, you're gonna meditate for 10 minutes with my voice, kind of snapping you back to reality, helping you actually get the benefits of meditation, which is not it was what I was missing when I was doing it myself because I didn't know how. And then it gives you like other stuff too. Like there's a reflection, and they kind of just talk about life stuff. And like, I genuinely don't know how to explain how much value this app has to anyone's life if they choose any amount of time to listen to it. But like, when I say this could be the thing that I feel has provided me with the most value ever, like I would say that. Like that's how crazy it is. Um, so yeah, I started meditation through that, and then still kind of weird. I kind of like missed the plot. Like I was going through the guided meditation, I was somewhat getting the benefits of it, blah blah blah. But like 15 days, 20 days, just kind of like I enjoy this part of my day. I feel like it makes me like 1% more mindful, but then I just fall into my old habits and like, what's the point? I'm gonna kick my feet up because I'm gonna be here for a while. I like my Batman pants, my coffee socks. Um, so yeah, meditating was kind of like, nah. Let me get a better angle actually. Do it for the fans. I didn't really do anything, but um, meditation was kind of whatever. And then I came back from my trip from my dad's, and now that I think about it, it's all kind of just a haze. Like the only thing I remember is last night, and it feels like I've lived like 5 years of my life. It feels like I've just jumped. Like I've made some amazing discovery, but um, came back from my dad's, still kind of in a slump. I'm like, my life is good, but for some reason I'm just like not sad. Like I feel like I'm like missing something, and I don't know what. And then I don't know. That kind of went on for a while, and I would have like periods. Like was definitely kind of like slave to my emotions, where I'd be feeling good and I'd be like happy about it, and then I would just randomly kind of start feeling down just because of like maybe it's my energy. It's probably like how much time I was spending in my head and doing all this, and then it would just make me act that way and kind of just like drag me down. Like I would associate with these thoughts. I would associate with these emotions. It's just like God. Like how do I get out of this? Then last night, literally on a whim, I have 3 days off in a row. So now I'm trying to kind of like fill those with things that I want to do that I feel are productive or will like make me happy, whatever. trying to have stuff so I'm not just like, because the old me would have just been like, oh, I'm just gonna sleep and watch YouTube and eat junk food and do everything bad for me. So started off just kind of like trying to fill it with stuff, productive things, meditation, getting up early, working out for like 3 hours because it's like I have all the time in the world. Um, and then yesterday, I was writing down the things that I wanted to. Actually, the day before yesterday, Monday, I was writing down the things that I wanted to like research because I've been trying to be good at um, not going on screens like an hour before bed. So I'm thinking there's probably some like scientific or psychological phenomenon that like science has proven this, but I've noticed that like my mind is like hyperactive and like really creative at night. So literally like hour, 2 hours before I go to bed, I'll just like, I'll be pretty chill. Like I'm not doing much physically, but my mind will just be like, here's a really good idea. Here's a really good idea. You should do all this, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't have time to do it. But how this links in is like, I was thinking of a lot of really good things to research because I like just going on YouTube and watching videos about topics that I'm interested in. So let me actually find the index card. These are pretty actually useful, like just for my brain at least. I'm like, start a new index card and just write down stuff that I'm like interested in, want to do the next day, even just want to remember, like kind of a little note. And I feel like writing it down makes me remember it better than just putting it in my phone too. And then you get to see it more often because I've been spending a lot of time at my desk on my days off. So it's kind of just there. And then I catch a glimpse at it. Maybe I read it just because it's there. And then it's reinforcing that idea more. But here, so I'll just read it because that's not going to work. But it literally said, hello, tomorrow me. So I was kind of writing, what I want to do, what I want to research the next day because I didn't want to go on my phone and ruin the whole point of me trying to avoid screens before bed. But um, wait, actually, this isn't even it. It's this one. It's this other one that I already had topics on. These, so like the initial ones were like learning about an LLC and tax write-offs, like finance stuff. This is also, and The Courage to be Disliked. That's another really good philosophy book. That one is free on YouTube. Listen to it. Definitely doesn't stick as with me as much knowing what I know now, but still just like really good resource. So I was like talking about tasks and stuff. And then I was like, well, let me just put down some other stuff because I have a bunch of stuff that I want to look into. Um, so a lot of the initial stuff was like lifting related. I've been dabbling in peptides lately. So I was like researching LR3, melanone 2. And then I was like looking at triceps because I was like, oh, my freaking short head is buns when my long head is too big. So like, how do I blah blah blah? Who cares? And then I put manifestation. So here's the meat. Here's the meat of the story. um, I don't even know why I put. Well, I kind of know why I put manifestation. So same friend I was talking about earlier. This is not the coworker, but this is the person that did the deep dive on Carl Jung and recommended some books there. So kind of like my spiritual guiding star, almost, I guess you would say. Um, way way in touch with their spirituality and stuff like that. Like knows about a lot of the topics. Goes with energy, and they're kind of like, I guess at this point they're kind of like uh, my mentor, or like the person that I look up to. Like I want to be like them. I want to get my spirituality to that point, and I want to advance from there. But I like mentioned manifestation to them one day. I was like, I've heard about manifestation, and I want to research it because it sounds interesting. I was very skeptical. Was very skeptical up until last night. I was like, so you're telling me anyone can just poof, like create anything that they want? Like, how does that work? Like if science, we live on an earth, we have a reality, we have like tests and numbers, and like magic doesn't exist. Like this ain't Harry Potter, bro. Um, but I was skeptical, and I was like, I want to look into it. And then they were like, you should look into it. It's really cool. then guess what I did? I didn't research it for like 3 or 4 months because that's just me. But everything happens when it should happen and for a reason. So literally, like everything retrospective, everything in the future now is like feels so much clearer. It will change at points, but I hope to keep this outlook going forward. Anyway, let me be concise. So looked into manifestation last night because I think I remembered what we were talking about, and I was like texting them, and I was thinking about manifestation, and I was like, I think I'm actually gonna look into it. Literally watched one video. This video changed my life. It was literally like the first result. I think I put like, how does manifestation work, or like what is or I even might have just put into YouTube manifestation. This was the first video, and it's basically just talking about how it works. And I don't know what it was, but like halfway through the video, they told a story about how they manifested something, and then just like neurons connected in my brain, and I was like, wait, I've manifested things before, and it's like, you know, I've been mulling over this thought in my head. A lot of people's like counter to that is like, I'm using a lot of likes. Let's cool it on those. Um, the counter to manifestation being real, most people is as if this thing is already going to happen, or you put in work to receive this outcome. Like it's kind of a logical explanation of it, but I think that's what coincidences are. There are so many times where this thing should not have happened, and then it does happen, and there's often evidence of me or whoever it's happening to, they were consciously thinking about it the time before, even if it was just a single thought. But like I find that those times when I feel I've manifested things, I've thought about it repeatedly in positive lights, and then it just happens. And then I'm like, huh? So this was really an eye opener. I was like, so if manifestation is real, does that mean I can do anything? And I was really excited, but it was getting late because I was looking at this at night. And then I was like, oh, man, this like is plaguing me. Like is my biggest up, bro. Um, like an So I researched it, and I got super excited. I think I watched that one video. I don't think I watched anything else. And then I said to myself, okay, I'm gonna research it a lot more the next day because I wanted to get off of screens. But I had a really strong interest in it off the bat because if it did end up being true, it sounded amazing. And then I think I started reading as well. I've been reading the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. Also recommend Buddhist scripture. Well, not scripture. Buddhist work. It also makes another work more digestible. I started reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead, again, a recommendation from my client, and I did not understand it. It's talking about like prayers, and it's more of like a practical thing. Like you need to do these things that it tells you, and it's basically to help people along who are dying, uh, to accept death, stuff like that. But the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying kind of condenses that, makes it more digestible, but also just tells about a lot of the beliefs of Buddhism that just kind of resonate. Like ever since I looked at this manifestation thing, I feel like I've been in a flow learning state where all these things that were just going in one ear out the other, and I'm like, this sounds cool, and I agree with it, but like I wasn't understanding it on a fundamental level. And then as soon as I accepted manifestation, I realized that it was real. All these things had so much more meaning. Even this morning when I went for a walk and I did my waking up day listening to meditation and doing the additional content with it, it just resonated with me so much more. And I need to like split these out into other videos because there's so much to talk about. But yeah, realizing that manifestation is real kind of opened up my mind, and I was like, can anything be real? And when you look at the science of it, one thing that like really cements in my mind that manifestation is real is the law of attraction. It's the law of attraction is the scientific explanation for what manifestation does, and it makes sense scientifically. So, to make a long story short, holy mother, um, real life is not real, and you can do genuinely anything you want. Like I've had thoughts where I'm like, could I manifest alien? I could probably manifest aliens if I wanted. Literally watched a video about some 20-year-old kid making, well, not kid, some 20-year-old making millions of dollars, um, just using the law of attachment and the law of attraction. The thing that I also wanted to mention in this video, I'm definitely going to talk about it more because, like I said, I love yapping. Should start a podcast or something. But um, one of the most important aspects, I'm going to make way more videos on this stuff, but one of the most important aspects is just living in the moment. Essentially, the thing that makes these things not come to fruition and fail and trips people up is getting in their head. Like our mind is our most powerful tool, but it's also our most, I need to get better at thinking of words, our most desolate prison. Like if you let your mind trap you, to take you in, and you don't recognize the effect that it can have on you, it can limit you so much. Like all those people that are like, the sky's the limit, and what you think becomes your reality, and all this stuff. Like it's actually true. Like I thought it was just hearsay, but it's true. And if you can recognize what your mind is doing to you, what it's limiting you with, escape from it, and just genuinely live in the moment. Don't live in the past. Don't live in the future. The only thing we have now is this present moment. Obviously, you can think of stuff here and there like, oh, this is what this experience taught me not to do this in the future, or I'm excited for this thing. Like you can have those thoughts here and there. But if you're going through your whole day, you're like, I can't wait to do this thing later. And then I want to do this. And it's like this thing right now is just nothing. And I'm going to this point where I'm going to do this other thing. You're going to stay in this state of essentially like ignorance, like just living normal life. But if you can, mainly the way that I think I'm going to achieve this is through meditation and mindfulness throughout my day. If you can use these tools to become fully present and live in a flow state, or kind of get out of your head throughout the day, then you can genuinely do anything you want. Like the minimal amount of research that I've done, people have done so much with manifestation. Like they've manifested relationships, they've made a bunch of money. Some chick was talking about getting chocolate chip cookies to her door during quarantine. She like made a video on it, and I was like, this just proves that it's real. Like you can test it. I'll probably make my own manifestation. I'm definitely gonna make like test videos where I'm gonna be like, okay, this is the first manifestation test, because in my head I've cemented it as true. But like if I can be like actively manifesting and then something happens, because all of these past experiences have been like subconscious or unaware manifestation. If I can do it consciously, know I'm doing it, bring it to life, then it's over, bro. Like it's game over. I'm gonna become the Buddha or something. I don't know. But lost my train of thought. Let's go. It has left the station. But yeah, like manifestation is pretty wild, but the key to unlocking it is escaping your head and integrating with the nature of mind, the universe, source that is within all of us, whatever you want to call it. It's really funny because I feel like I've just speed ran and like become a hardcore spiritualist, because I was always like a little skeptical, and then I was like slowly starting to identify with spiritualism. And then this past night, like I'm on board, bro. Like I'm gonna be talking people's ear off. I'm gonna be meditating a lot. I'm gonna be thinking about it a lot throughout the days. But yeah, I'm back, and this channel is gonna be a little different. Might still be lifting content, but I don't know, man. Like I got a lot to think about and figure out. But one thing is, I'm trying to use manifestation to manifest an audience. So I want to help as many people as possible. Like that's primarily the way that I want to use manifestation. So that's probably going to be my first test. That will most likely be my next video, is like more in-depth manifestation video, and like kind of a lab experiment. Like I'm like, oh, this is what I did. This is my hypothesis. Blah blah blah. This is the outcome. Da da da. But I want to manifest an audience. So I want to get the word out there to you guys. I want to pass on the knowledge. I want to make as many people happier as I can. And we'll see. Because if that happened, then that would make me happy. That would make other people happy out of the ignorant state and such. So I can't stop smiling, bro, ever since last night. Just thinking about all this stuff, it's like like genuinely imagine if you go through your life being like, oh, I can't do this because I have to pay bills and I have to like abide by the laws of the world, just like it's like every limitation has been stripped away. And now I realize that my life is a video game. Like I literally said it in my like journal entry today. I was like, my life turned into a simulator game. Like I'm living adventure capitalist, infinite money glitch. Um, Turned on God mode. I'm playing Gary's mod. I can do whatever I want. So, like, and just the more research I do, the more that this gets solidified. And I'm like, and it just opens my mind too, because like I love deep thinking and like uh, pondering and just kind of like life stuff. Like life is not real. Like what is the meaning of life? Like that kind of stuff. And it even opens the door to that. Like I don't know. It's just it makes me happy, and I'm happy to share it with other people. So hopefully I'll get better at being more concise, and these videos will be easier to watch. But right now, like I don't care. I'm just throwing them out there. I'm gonna manifest 1 million subscribers because manifestation's real, and yeah. So good to be back. Talk to y'all later. Bye.